Welcome to International Securities Exchange's podcast series. Facilitated by renowned educators, ISE podcasts are intended to teach beginning as well as seasoned investors the ins and outs of trading. To find an updated list of podcasts, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts. Please be sure to listen to our important message following this episode regarding the risks of investing in exchange-traded options.
Let me kind of talk to you about the FX options and how you can actually use it. Now, one of the things I really like is that there is no underlying in the FX options. So I know when people are trading options, they're just trading the options. They're not trading the underlying. So I think you can kind of see the hand instead of like having to try to figure out if they hedged it with the underlying.
What's been going on in volatility, Stefen? What do you see here as far as what's been the trend here in the currency options?
Right. I think the volatility has been basically going down. You know, so what I try to do is when I look at these charts, you know, when I'm doing research, let's say, you know, I look at this point and you see on the bottom, you see that there are volume bars of what's trading, and over here you can see the implied volatility. So you can see out of the whole year, it was at a relatively low volatility. And let's say I can actually click on the bar and get what's trading. So here on September 16th, you can see that people are selling puts and buying calls. Now let's actually go to the time and sales. We'll actually go to that day. So we have dates back to 2 years, and we're going to have more as we go. But here you can see all the trades for the day. So if I can just kind of walk you through what happened this day, you can see that people are buying calls. You can see like the October 98 calls, they're buying 200 contracts. The stock or the implied price was 28.56. It was executed on the ICE, and the market was 28.26 at 28.56. So this person bought it on the offer. So it was a bullish bet. So you can see the bullish bets on green, the red, people are selling, and people are also selling puts, which is bullish. So let's go to the next page. Later on the day, you can see everybody is selling puts or they're buying calls. So you see selling puts, buying calls, which is all getting you long delta. So I go to the next page, all buying calls, selling puts, buying calls. Right? So this every order on this day pretty much was making a bet that the dollar was going to appreciate against the AUX. Chart afterwards, boom, it goes up dramatically.
Stefen, look at the euro. The same thing happened, I believe, if you hit a BUI.
Right.
You could have gotten a view of the market in general that everybody wanted to be long the dollar, and you could probably grab that way ahead of everybody else. I think you could see that look at
right.
these numbers. Oh, these are all red, though. Huh? I'm surprised.
Yeah, so let me actually go to that date. So this is September 17th. So what I actually try to do is I actually try to see the order flow and see if it matches.
Okay.
Right? So let's go September 17th. And sometimes, like, you know, the order flow matches and sometimes it doesn't. So you can see, okay, they were buying calls, then they were selling calls, then they were selling calls. Okay, so not that many contracts traded for the whole day, but they were basically selling calls, which meant that they were bearish for this day. But for the AUX, it was working. So like what I try to do is when I look at these charts, I look at like, okay, if I want to do the bet, and then I'll research to see if it actually worked out. So let's say, you know, in the British pound, I look at this day right here, September 5th, and you can see large block orders of buying calls. Right? So I actually go to time and sales, and this this is all you can do so you can stay at home and do some research when the market's not open. And this is exactly what I do is like, hey, I want to see what happened. And you can see like they're buying calls. They bought some puts here in the morning. You know, they're buying more calls. But the biggest block trades are all buying calls. So you can see like these guys are, this guy bought like 1,000 calls, sold 2,000 puts, and bought another 1,000 call, bought another 1,000 call. So these guys are making big bets that the dollar is going to appreciate against the pound, and that's exactly what happened. So let's say I go back even further, and I say, hey, you know, what happened on this date? Way back here, let's see if I can get it, and here you go. They're all buying calls again.
Wow.
Right? So then, now you can't see it because this chart is so huge, but it actually did have a pretty big pop.
Right.
If you actually look at the chart. So for the British pound, the FX options, the order flow seems to indicate, you know, pretty much where the stock's going to go. And it's something, I don't actually use the order flow to just basically make my bets, but I follow it using the volatility. So let's say you think the dollar is going to appreciate. Well, hey, if the volatility is low, then, hey, maybe I'll just take a shot and buy a call naked. But if the volatility is high, then like up here, then you probably shouldn't just buy naked calls because those calls are very expensive, so you want to neutralize that by basically, you know, buying a call spread. You know, if you look at this day, let's look at this day, what's happening. And you can see right here on March 16th. So let's actually take a look. So let me just show you where the stock was on March 16th. Like about 72, right? So on March 16th of this year, if I actually go back, March 16th or 17th? Oh, looks like we're actually missing the March 16th. But if you actually look at it right here, you can see most of the bets that people are making are selling calls and buying puts. So at this point, right here, if you were actually following what people are doing, they're basically betting that the dollar was going to start depreciating against the British pound.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To find more podcasts on options, stocks, alternative markets, and market data, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts.